YouTube Ozzy going. The Goat House is back. We got score predictions for the 4 divisional round playoff matchups here. Taking a look at the lines of the game to see if there's any worth putting money on. They're all going to be tight, at least we hope, because last week a little disappointing with the ass beatings, really is the best way to put it. So expecting closer games this week, hopefully. Follow us on Twitter. We're talking live throughout these games. We got all kinds of NFL content on that Twitter. So there's a link down below for that. Link down below, pinning the comments for recent videos. Check it all out. Be much appreciated. Like, subscribe, turn notifications on. You guys know the drill. First game, Bengals Titans. I think all 4 of these games can go either way. I think all 4 can go either way. Titans are favored by 3.5. I'm feeling the Titans though. The difference is Joe Burrow maybe in versus Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill's he's a solid quarterback. Look at last year against the Ravens in the playoffs. The Ravens took away the run, and they made that, forced them to beat them in the pass, and something they couldn't do. So that's kind of the question here at Ryan Tannehill in the Titans passing game. Can it be consistent? And then could Joe Burrow outplay, the Titans by that much? And, with those weapons, definitely something that maybe the Titans haven't seen. There's not too much of it in the NFL, what the Bengals got with Joe Burrow, the running game, and all those weapons, including Jamar Chase. So Titans defense end of the year real well, and we'll see if they can continue that. The biggest difference I see in this game is the trenches, the difference between the two teams inside. That was a big thing last week. All the teams that won seem to dominate in the interior, whether it's offensive line or defensive line, and that's where the Titans are strong. Much stronger than the Bengals. I think Jeffrey Simmons and Danico Autry are 2 guys to watch out for. I think they're going to get that interior pressure on Joe Burrow, which makes this kind of a defensive game for the most part here. So I do like the Titans. What I like about both defenses is they both mix up their coverages. It's very hard to predict what kind of coverage they're going to be in at the pre-snap, at the line of scrimmage. So I do like that. So I'm thinking a little bit more defensive game, not complete defensive game. Derrick Henry's back. Can he get going? The Bengals are pretty solid stopping a run. They let Josh Jacobs get loose on them last week, but I think that's because the Bengals were more focused on the pass against the Raiders, be more focused on the run against the Titans. So it will be on Tannehill in this passing game getting something going. I think Henry will do enough in this game. But again, the key for me is the offensive line and the defensive line of the Tennessee Titans. They must get interior pressure. The Bengals offensive line must protect. Usually the weaker groups stand out a little more, show themselves a little more at this time of the year. So can the Bengals hold up in that area? I like the Titans at home. Bengals were a little beat up at the end of last week, too. Going to be getting some guys back. Are they 100%? Got to go on the road here in the divisional round. So it'll be tough, but they definitely have a shot. Next game, 49ers and Packers, I think somewhat close as well. I like the Packers in this game at home. Another team, the 49ers, good performance last week, got a little beat up. Whether some of these guys will be back or not, are they 100%? The Packers are getting healthier, getting some star players back. So that's big time. If there was, again, I keep mentioning this, if there was a team that could give the Packers problems in the second round, I feel like it's the 49ers. Over all the other NFC teams, I guess maybe playing Tom Brady in an NFC title type atmosphere is a different story, but I'm talking about divisional round. The 49ers match up, I think, well, because going to Lambeau, how many teams were going to be able to handle that? When the Packers were fresh off a bye, well rested, getting some guys back. 49ers, with their physical play, their speed, very balanced team, play very tough on both sides of the ball. They match up pretty well. But the 49ers being beat up, do they get one-dimensional? Do the Packers slow the run at any point? Do the 49ers got to rely on that? Another thing is, as good as the 49ers played last week and as sloppy as the Cowboys were, Cowboys still had a chance to stay in that game. The Packers, if they do that with the Packers will take the game. They will take it. The Cowboys were also penalized an insane amount last week, and Dak was surprisingly missing some throws or not seeing some guys open early enough. 2 things that I don't think will happen with the Packers. The Packers are the least penalized team in football, and Aaron Rodgers will take care of business. So I do like the Packers there. Why the Niners could win? Yeah, again, if they start with the ball and they go punch them in the mouth, that's 49er football. It's the best way to explain 49er football. And they go drain the clock and go put 7 points up on the board, make Rodgers stay on the sideline, and play pretty tight defense. And get pressure, too. Get pressure. We've seen that was the factor for the 49ers last time they played the Packers in a big game in in a playoff game, and that was a factor last week. They were dominant in terms of their pass rush and their pass protection. So if they outplay the Packers in those categories, 49ers could win. They definitely can win here. So Packers, curious to see how their defense is, because it started off, it was better the first half of the second half of the year, but they're getting some stud players back. So curious to see how that works here. I think it's going to be a good game. I think this, having Aaron Rodgers, that passing game, Devontae Adams, is just enough here. So I got them scoring 27, winning 27-23, pretty close to that line. All these games are pretty damn close to the line here, the spread. Next game, Rams and Bucks. I was kind of back and forth on, because the Rams are kind of doing what, going into the playoffs. I'm like, this could be a dangerous, sneaky dangerous football team here. Possible Super Bowl champions if they mix it up. They got to pound the football, open play actions, quit with just the straight drop backs, staring at Cooper Kupp. And they went and did that against the Cardinals. They pounded the football. Stafford barely even threw the ball. Open some things up there, put some good things on film to throw teams off. So I love that about the Rams. The Bucks actually could be the toughest matchup, because the Buccaneers, even though I want the Rams to pound the football, and I still do, the Buccaneers are, and I don't really care what the stats say on the regular season, and they're up there anyways, but the Buccaneers are the best run-stopping defense in football. Very stout run-stopping defense. So that's tough, and will that make McVay overthink things? Like, all right, they're going to stop the run. We beat them last time just airing it out. Let's just go back to doing that. And I think Todd Bowles has something up his sleeves. I think he has something to game plan for, prepare for the Rams this time around for Stafford. He draws up some beautiful blitzes, and they have the players to make it happen. They have the guys that can blitz. They have the playmakers in the back end, and they can stop the run on early downs. So I think that's the key here. I think this could be a shootout, but I kind of have it in the middle there. I think the Bucs defense makes that extra play with creating that pressure on the blitz and creating that turnover. And I think Tom Brady finds a way. I feel a little more comfortable with Tom Brady over Matt Stafford. But the Rams got so much to their game that now they show they can run the ball. We know they can pass the ball downfield, underneath. They got the collection of weapons. Defensively, they're stopping the run just as well as the Bucs. They're getting pressure. On guys. They got playmakers in the back end. So the Rams look real tough as well. I guess, the Rams getting mainly that interior pressure, but the Bucs with that offensive line. We'll see if Tristan Wirfs plays, but it's mainly what's going on inside in the trenches there. And the Buccaneers can protect Tom Brady for the most part. We'll see if Wirfs and Fournette's going to play. I'm very confident he'll play. We'll see if Wirfs plays. That could play a part. If this was in LA, I'd be picking the Rams, though, because as you can see, I can argue both sides. It's in Tampa. The Rams will regret blowing that game to the 49ers and losing the 2 seed there at the end of the year. So I'll take the Bucs by 3. Could go either way. The line happens to be 3 as well, but definitely can argue both sides. Winner of this game. I mean, they're both legit Super Bowl contenders here, so that's definitely a tough one. The Bucs thin at receiver. Will that show? It definitely could. It showed actually early in that Eagles game. So will that show in a game like this? People talking about Jalen Ramsey locked down Mike Evans, and it's pretty much just Gronk. But the Rams run a bit of cover 4 and cover 3, a little bit of cover 3. They're not really a man coverage team. We could see some man, so it's not like Ramsey is following Mike Evans everywhere. That could be the case, but it's really not most of the time. And Fournette in the passing game is the guy to look out for as well. So it's going to be a great game. I think the best game is the last one. They saved the best for last here. Bills versus Chiefs, and I was back and forth. Once I knew this was the matchup, I was back and forth on this one. I talked about it in the Straight Up Picks video. That's on the channel if you guys want to check it out. But it's the only technically underdog that I went with. The Bills are getting 2 points. I have them winning by 2 points, so that looks pretty good. At the end of the day, I picked the Bills. Why? I feel like they're the better roster. If you look through the roster, there's less holes on this team. But really, at this time of the year, the key is who's better in the most important spots. That's the question. You look at quarterback, offensive line, pass rush, things like that. And that's debatable. That's definitely debatable here. But I feel like the Bills are the better team right now. So that's, at the end of the day, why I went with the Bills. I would have hated myself picking against the Bills and then going winning. Like, I knew they on paper, evaluating this team, they kind of feel like the better team. But again, that's not what determines everything. I do think the Patriots were an interesting matchup, a tough matchup for the Bills. They went and dominated them. They were at home. Now they go to Kansas City. Home field advantage for the Chiefs. That's a key. That's why the Chiefs can win. Number 2, they're making it like it's a revenge game for the Bills. I don't like that they're hyping it up. That's something I don't like for the Bills. Everyone's hyping this up as a revenge game. It never goes well for the team trying to get revenge. It never goes well. It just depends on if the players are kind of feeling like that. Just go in there, take care of business, act, know that you're the better team. I'm more of that style of approach. So it'll depend on what their mentality is inside the locker room. I'm sure they'll have the right one. But I don't like that people around, outside of the team are kind of making it like it's this big revenge game. And it does seem like the same things are happening. Look at like the wild card round. It's just the history's repeating itself. That would side towards the Chiefs at home here. But looking on the field, Bills defense, super good defense right now. But there is a spot that I don't want to call it weak because it hasn't showed itself yet, but it can be weak, and it's that cornerback position. Without Tre'Davious White there, but it hasn't presented itself yet. I think because how well coached the defense is, how many talented players there are, it's balanced. Guys kind of help each other, feed off each other a little bit, but to expose that and beat the Bills defense, you gotta, I think, early attack the sideline with your speed, Tyreek Hill being the case, and you want to force the safeties who they play a lot of cover too, they have help over the top. You want to force them to focus on the boundaries, to focus on the sidelines, and that will open things up in the middle of the field to your Travis Kelce or your running backs in the pass or a run game, guys like that, or even Tyreek Hill in the middle of the field. I think that is how you would to look for a success against the Bills defense. I do think you can run on them if you're real physical in the trenches and pound the ball. Chiefs can do that. We've seen some good power running schemes from them. Wonder if they take that approach. It's just that's not their forte, though, So we'll see. But I think they do that first scenario that I said, and I think they have success, actually, against the Bills' defense. I think the Bills' offense just has more success against the Chiefs' defense. The Chiefs' defense is weird. 1 week it looks like one of the worst in football. 1 week it looks like one of the best in football. They do a good job blitzing, generating pressure that way. They got Chris Jones as a star defensive tackle that can create interior pressure and stop the run. Interior pressure is a game changer, and that could be the difference in this game. The Bills get it. They just don't have Chris Jones, obviously. And the Chiefs, they viewed as a little thin in the back end, the secondary, but they got playmakers, Tyrann Mathieu, guys that just show up in the big moments. So that could be a reason for the Chiefs as well. But I think Josh Allen using his legs is a problem. The Chiefs dial up blitzes. They're not too good at getting pressure the old-fashioned way unless it's Chris Jones getting interior pressure. Edge rush has been a little quiet. Frank Clark might be the X factor in this game, actually, now that I'm talking, because he's been a little quiet. Not much pressure off the edge. The Chiefs have to rely on the blitz to get pressure. Sometimes they're pretty good at it, But I'm kind of thinking about the past with Frank Clark. And it's kind of been the same thing. He's been quiet most of the regular season. But then when the big games come around, like these huge games, it feels like Frank Clark just goes wild. And that's why they got him there, going back to the Super Bowl, some AFC championship games. So I'm thinking about that right now. Maybe Frank Clark's the X factor here. Maybe he breaks out here and does his thing. And if he does that, Chiefs can win this game. Bills' offensive line is kind of the X factor to them because they've been hot and cold this year. They were insane last week, super good. So if they hold up, I think they do the same thing. I think the Bills will win. But if they, struggle to pick up blitzes or maybe struggle to do it, Chris Jones, Frank Clark, then the Bills will probably lose the game. I just think, both offenses will be successful. I like Josh Allen on the ground. That's a difference. I like that the Bills are running the ball more. I like the Bills that are opening up the playbook. They're throwing just so many different things at you, getting Josh Allen outside, inside, little option looks. You throw down field because it kind of spreads the field out every direction, I love that. And there's a difference offensively. And Mahomes can be the better passer in this game. That's very realistic, but the difference, Josh Allen and Mahomes can move as well, but Josh Allen on the ground, I look at defensively, even though I think that the Chiefs could expose the Bills defense, it has not been done yet. I still think the Bills defense is a little better than the Chiefs, maybe more than a little better than the Chiefs defense. So it's hard for me to pick against the Bills, but that crowd's going to be insane. Teams rarely get that revenge in those revenge games, but I'm gonna go with the Bills. It's one I've been back and forth on. Like I said, evaluating these rosters, the talent, I feel like the Bills get the edge, so it's very tough for me to pick against the Bills. If I picked the Chiefs and the Bills won, I probably would have hated myself. I'm probably going to hate myself either way because I can argue both sides pretty evenly like usual. So those are my score predictions for the divisional round. We'll be back next week with my predictions for conference championships and then the Super Bowl. We have our straight up picks on the channel. We got all kinds of playoff content. We got all kinds of off-season content. Loads of it already and a lot more to come. There's links pinned in the comments with those recent videos and our Twitter. Some useful links down there. So check it out. Also like, subscribe, turn notifications on. Much appreciated. That's going to do it for this one. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.